I'm the Naked Firefly. Welcome to my channel, Mindful Writing with the Rebel Writer. Today I wanted to talk about the things that really irks me when it comes to seeing characters of color in books. Thankfully, times are changing, but I still see these mistakes being made, and I kind of wanted to address them. So let's get into it. Number one, describing COCs or characters of color as food. As much as I love to be described as like a delicious pecan cookie or whatever, the truth of the matter is people or characters of color can be described with the same type of skin complexion, such as umber, which is like a dark yellowish brown, or fawn, a light yellow brown. We come in all different complexions, really, and we don't have to be described as food. As a matter of fact, we can be described as, if you don't want to get into that deep, black, beige, white, pink, brown, and then you can really get into it in like the yellow. Some of us have yellow undertones, some of us have red undertones. Prime example, a golden brown complexion, or a russet brown, or a dazzling smile revealed the bronze glow in her cheeks, something along that line. We don't want to be described as food, even though there are times where we want to be delicious. In a story, we kind of want to be described with certain skin complexions as well, like our non-characters of color. Number two, giving them a stereotypic role. Thankfully, I don't see this as much, but it's still there. You have the strong black woman, nothing can break her. You have the black man who needs to be led by women, or he needs to have a white savior to lead him, or he's just lost, and he finally finds his calling near the end when he's about to be killed, or his family is about to be killed, or the smart mathematician Asian, or the feisty Latino or Latina. Like everyday people, just because the skin complexion is different, everyday people, and everybody doesn't sound the same. I mean, like, you're not going to really have the Latina or Latino sitting there with like necessarily a Spanish accent. Sometimes they actually speak pretty good English without an accent. You're not going to have the strong black woman who one minute she's sitting there and she's talking Ebonics, and then she has to switch it up when she's in corporate. Sometimes they just naturally talk like that. Some people naturally talk like that in their private and in their personal lives. So let's change it up a bit. Not enough of them being in a lead role, or if they are, they're not competent, or they're not human. So let's start with that. Not enough of them being in a lead role. I'm starting to see more and more characters of color in children's books, which is a good thing, and I'm starting to see some in adult fiction as well. But usually there'll be like a stereotype, back to the stereotype. There'll be like the goofy black guy who's like or the goofy black woman. They're the comedy relief. But sometimes, like, we're confident. I say we because I am a writer of color, and we're confident. We can think for ourselves. We actually have the brains to do it as well. We don't always have to be the comic relief. Do like to tell a funny joke. Everybody does. It doesn't matter what race or color they are. Everybody likes to, be that person that lightens up the mood. But then there are many who are out there who just are serious and who are all about business. So we need to start focusing on them. And if they are the lead role, they need somebody to save them. A white savior factor, once again. And sometimes you see this in movies. Majority of the time, you see this in movies more than you do in books, where you'll have the African American or the Hispanic or the Asian who is trying to achieve something, and then here comes the white savior. So that sometimes is not necessary. Sometimes there are people, the character of colors can be saved by those that look like them, or either they can save themselves. Or either if they are the lead, they're not human. They're of a different species or a different, it's not right. It's just like, why are we going to be a different species, like an ape or an alien or something that just comes and saves the world if we have to be competent? Number 4, making the women strong. And I talked about this, when in fact they feel just like non-characters of color. Like the women of color, sometimes, especially those of African descent, have a bad rep. And I say a bad rep because they're believed to be strong. The majority of the time within the community, they're the ones to suffer from depression or loss or sadness. It's okay to be strong for the community because it has had to be done throughout their history living in this country. However, at the same time, they have a right to feel sadness. They have a right to feel happiness and to be mad and not be seen as aggressive or as troublesome or as even as a sex object. Sometimes characters of color, if not in books, definitely in movies, can be seen as like this sexual being, whether they're African American or Latina or Asian. They're seen as like this sexual object sometimes, and then they have to be strong at the same time. They're not allowed to express how they feel or what they're doing. They have to, throughout the entire story, remain strong even if they're breaking on the inside, and that's not fair. You have to show them as human as well. They are human. They have feelings like humans, so they should be shown as such. Number 5, the only way they can be great is if they have a superpower or super ability. And I'm starting to see that a lot. Whereas those with characters of color have to have some sort of superpower, or they can shoot a gun, or they know martial arts, or they can shoot a bow really good. They have to have some sort of superpower or super ability to be able to save the world, or to be able to just to function in the story. They can't be just a normal person that's going to a 9-to-5 and they experience the pain of loss. They get paid like everybody else. They get promotions. They have families. Their families sometimes are perfect. Or picture perfect anyways. Sometimes their families are dysfunctional, and that's another thing I've seen a lot of. If I see a character of color, the family is somehow dysfunctional, extremely dysfunctional, and it's like, you know, there are actually characters of color with families who have families that work together, families that support each other. So everybody has dysfunction, but I don't like when I see that the most dysfunctional families sometimes would be the ones that are characters of color. It's like, really? I mean, their families adopt too. Sometimes they adopt people who don't look like them. They love and they care for each other and others, and they support each other. So why can't we show that in a story? Why does it have to be Hollywood accepted? However, I am thankful that nowadays is being brought to light, and hopefully we can actually see that change. Those are only 5 of the ones that I've noticed. If you can think of any more, please place them in the comments. And if I can think of any more, I will do another video on it. Yeah, subscribe, hit the notification button, share, like that like button. Peace and love.